The price of loving your own. Maya had always believed that loving yourself was free. Self-help books promised it, Instagram quotes celebrated it, and her therapist had spent 2 years gently steering her toward it. But standing in her bathroom at 2 a.m., scissors poised above her waist-length hair, she realized self-love came with a bill she hadn't anticipated paying. The hair had been Alex's favorite thing about her. He'd wind it around his fingers during movies, bury his face in it during lazy Sunday mornings, photograph it catching the light at golden hour. When he left 3 months ago, citing her obsession with self-improvement and not being the girl he fell in love with anymore, Maya had kept the hair, a small concession, a bargaining chip she hadn't known she was saving. Now, watching her reflection, she understood. The hair had never been about Alex. It had been about the version of herself who twisted into shapes to fit into someone else's aesthetic preferences. The girl who'd skipped the gym because he preferred her soft, who'd dimmed her ambition because her late nights at the office made him feel neglected, who'd slowly, imperceptibly, become a curated exhibit of someone else's desires. The scissors made a satisfying sound. The first chunk of hair hit the tile like a declaration of independence. By sunrise, Maya's bathroom looked like a crime scene, and she looked like herself. The pixie cut revealed cheekbones she'd forgotten she had, made her eyes look enormous, gave her neck an elegant length. She felt 5 pounds lighter and 10 years braver. Her phone buzzed. Alex. Again. The fourth message this week, each one slightly more vulnerable than the last, testing the waters of reconciliation. She deleted it without reading and blocked his number. That was new too, the ability to close doors without guilt. The price of self-love, Maya was learning, wasn't paid in moments of grand gesture. It was extracted in 1,000 tiny transactions. It cost her Saturday brunch with college friends who still treated her like the accommodating wallflower she'd been at 22, who didn't know what to do with this woman who now had opinions and boundaries. It cost her the approval of her mother, who'd called the haircut a bit much and asked, in that careful way, if she was going through something. Yes, Maya had wanted to say. I'm going through a metamorphosis, and it's messy and confusing, and I'm doing it anyway. Instead, she'd said she was fine, because some prices you pay alone. Work became complicated too. Her new confidence apparently read as aggressive in meetings where she'd once sat quietly nodding. When she pitched the campaign she'd been mentally developing for months, her boss Marcus looked surprised, as if she'd suddenly started speaking Mandarin. They went with someone else's idea, a safer, more conventional approach. Maya submitted her portfolio to 3 competitors that afternoon. The job offer from Sterling & Campo came 2 weeks later. Better title, better pay, better chance to actually use her brain. Accepting it meant leaving the comfortable mediocrity she'd known for 5 years, the colleagues who'd become friends by proximity, the commute she could do half asleep. It meant believing she was worth the risk. She accepted. But the highest price came on a random Wednesday evening at the corner coffee shop where she'd started working on her novel, the one she'd abandoned for 3 years because Alex had found her creative aspirations cute but impractical. The barista, Jordan, had kind eyes and a smile that seemed genuinely interested when she talked about her protagonist's internal conflict with authenticity. I'd love to read it sometime, Jordan said, scribbling a phone number on her cup sleeve. Maya's heart performed a complicated gymnastics routine. Jordan was exactly the kind of person she'd want to know better. But accepting that number meant opening herself up again, risking that she might contort herself into a new shape for a new person, that all this hard-won selfhood might dissolve the moment someone else's desires entered the equation. She took the number, but she didn't call for 2 weeks. When she finally did, she suggested they meet for coffee. Public, contained. An hour, maybe 2. Low stakes. Or, Jordan countered, there's this open mic night at the Underground on Friday. You could read something from your novel. I'll be there reading poetry. No pressure, but it might be fun. Maya's immediate instinct was to say no. Too vulnerable. Too exposed. But then she remembered. The old Maya would have said no. The old Maya would have kept her writing locked in a password-protected document, would have kept herself locked in a temperature-controlled environment where nothing could touch her, but nothing could reach her either. I'll be there, she said. Friday night, standing behind the microphone with her pages trembling in her hands, Maya understood the final price of loving yourself. It wasn't isolation or independence or the ability to exist without needing anyone. It was the courage to show up as yourself and risk being seen, really seen, and maybe not liked. It was the vulnerability of bringing your whole self to moments that mattered and trusting that wholeness was enough. She read 3 pages. Her voice shook for the first paragraph, steadied by the second, and by the third, she forgot to be afraid. When she looked up, Jordan was smiling at her like she'd just witnessed something extraordinary. After, they talked until the coffee shop closed, then kept talking on the sidewalk until midnight. Jordan asked questions about her writing, her new job, her pixie cut. Never once suggested she should be anything other than exactly what she was. "This is nice," Maya said, surprised by how much she meant it. "It is," Jordan agreed. "You're refreshingly yourself." Maya laughed. "That's recent, actually. Still getting used to it." "Well," Jordan said, "I like it, for what it's worth." It was worth something, but it wasn't worth everything. And that, Maya realized, walking home alone under the streetlights, feeling happy and whole and her own, that was the difference. She'd finally learned to price herself higher than anyone else's opinion of her. Even the good ones.